Hello world, this is the second part of the video. My phone really does have about a 5-minute cap, depending on how much junk is on my phone. I probably had about a minute left. I might expand it. I've already probably spent a minute explaining why I'm doing this in 2 parts. So I was getting into prescriptive language, the nature of that, and so it does 2 things. It creates rules and it creates classifications. So tuppence is a subset of dog, and dog is a subset of hairy quadruped. Everything in the universe is actually distinct from one another, but creating categories, you're creating similarities, defining certain similarities. Even identically created widgets will still at least use different atoms and occupy different space. So like a nail, how are you going to classify different nails? Well, people do it by size, by length, by the material that the nail's made out of. There's a story of, I believe it's Socrates and Diogenes. Socrates created a definition of a man as a man is a featherless biped. Diogenes heard this, threw a plucked chicken into the ring of students and said, "Behold, Socrates man." Then Socrates just merely added a featherless biped without a beak. So whenever you're creating categories, they can be an iterative process. You just completely refine the resolution on the definition. Of course, there's more to being a man than even Socrates' example, but just to illustrate how a definition can be, and a category can be iteratively refined. That's really all I had. I'll do a little bit of how this relates to philosophy and thought. Whenever you create rules, you're able to predict the future. It's not arbitrary that the sun rises in the east every day. It happens every day. There's a rule to it. We did not necessarily make that rule, but we are explaining it whenever we say that as a matter of fact. I would say the same thing about the laws of gravity. We did not necessarily create the laws of gravity. There's some sort of process going on. Scientifically, it probably requires iterative modification. Einstein's relativity modified, but did not do away with Newtonian physics. So it's an iterative process. But these aren't rules that humanity really made. We're doing our best to describe them. And if you actually believe in physical laws, then you do believe in prescriptive thinking to some degree or another. That hill's actually a killer. Language itself, well, even the entire realm of scientific inquiry doesn't necessarily require that you live in a prescriptive world. You just merely observe what happens. If the sun were to rise in the west tomorrow, well, we just modify our theories. But we're keeping ourselves open to the possibility that, hey, it could happen. Science does like to modify itself. That's just what science does as well. Anyway, I'm a big fan of a rules-based line of thinking. And I'm just talking out loud. Hopefully all of this makes sense. And it's also good to get back in the swing of making videos. Cheers.